Hi everyone, I'm the teacher Angie Murillo. It's my pleasure to be here again, and thanks for your invitation. Today I'm discussing another hot button topic education and the theory of blank slate in education. This was proposed by Steven Pinker in his book, The Blank Slate The Modern Denial of Human Nature. So, for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to give you my point of view about a specific question that, in my opinion, is totally necessary in pedagogical field discussions. And should education nowadays be based on the concept of blank slate proposed by Steven Pinker, and why? To answer the question, I first want to point out that modern education has been really influenced by the idea of tabula rasa, and which means that humans are born without important predispositions, and that all knowledge and skills and behaviors are acquired for the experience and interaction with the environment. And this idea historically associated with philosophers like John Locke, and had a big impact in building educational models, as it suggests that all individuals um, have unlimited potential to learn and develop if they are given the right environment. And so, on the other hand, Steven Pinker's approach and his criticism of tabula rasa concept that he describes in his book, The Blank Slate, argued that humans are not born like blank slates. And according to Pinker, cognitive abilities and certain aspects of human behavior are influenced by both biology and genetics. And this view suggests that although the educational environment plays an important role, there are also innate differences that affect how each individual responds to that environment. And with this in mind, my answer to the question in my thesis is I consider that although the blank slate concept has promoted inclusive education, modern research and current challenges required a balanced approach that integrates both biological and social influence on learning. And this is my thesis statement. And and to support my thesis, I want give you an historical context. And since the 19th century, during a period known as enlightened despotism, education as I know it today was created. And this is important because during this time, the education was built on the foundation of the tabula rasa theory, and from the modern times to the present day. In the 18th century, in Prussia, the concept of public, free, and compulsory education was created. And this was to prevent the revolution that were happening in France. And the monarchs included the principle of enlightenment to satisfy the people, but they kept the absolutist regime. And the goal was to encourage discipline, obedience, and an authoritarian regime in students. The idea was to create a society that was obedient, docile, and fit for war. And this is why many countries adopted the school model with the discourses of access to education for all, but with much darker intention. And as Napoleon said, I wanted to form a teacher body to direct the opinions of the French. And I mention this because to clarify that the origin of education as we know it today uh, is based on the tabula rasa theory. And at that time, it was believed that the people's mind that that need to be shaped like clay to further in industrialization, and that the educational environment was effective in achieving this. Also, the concept of tabula rasa has been fundamental in the creation of pedagogical theories that emphasize the transformative power of the education environment. And by assuming that students were born with a predisposition, many educational models are focused on creating environments that provide equal opportunities. And this with the idea that all individuals can achieve academic success and if given the right condition. And for example, this control learning environments, equal access, and education as a human right. And for example, several educational approaches have been influenced by the idea that the environment is the main driver of learning and is based on the assumption of tabula rasa. And okay, here we have three examples of models of these pedagogical models that is based on tabula rasa concept. And the first one is behaviorism. It's one of the clearest approaches influenced by the idea of Skinner and Watson, and they argued that learning is the result of interaction with the environment and that behaviors can be shaped through rewards and punishment. And another approach other approaches were constructivism, developed by authors like Vygotsky, and progressive education, inspired by Dewey. Uh, According to those perspectives, individuals can be programmed through appropriate reinforcements and stimulus, and is that. But what is the reason that I have mentioned those kind of approach? Because although the tabula rasa concept has been dominant, human nature also is important in education. Because it is influenced by biology and genetics, which means that students respond in the same way to the same educational environment. And as Pinker said, we are not blank slates. And recognizing this is important for understanding human behavior and creating better policies in education. And if education ignores biological differences in between students, there can be frustrated um, for both teachers and students. And because these teaching methods won't adapt to the students' natural needs. But there are some modern pedagogical approaches um, that beginning to incorporate ideas that consider human nature and biological factors that affect learning. These models recognize that genetic and innate differences also influence individual development, and such as um, personalized education and multiple intelligence proposed by Garner, and don't ignore the individual differences in cognitive and emotion and abilities uh, that could have the students, and this which can limit the success of some students in a uniform education systems. And this is the challenge for teachers in this 21st century. Today, teachers face a classroom that is diverse in terms of cognitive and abilities, culture, and socioeconomic backgrounds, and an approach that ignores these differences. For example, assuming that all students have the same potential and they will respond in the same way to teaching can fail. And also, the 21st century requires teachers that not only teach knowledge, but also teach critical thinking, resilience, and collaborations, which students adapt to this changing world. And teachers must find balance between recognizing individual differences and avoiding biological determinism that may limit expectation for certain students. In summary, although contemporary education has largely been built on the promise of tabula rasa, it is increasingly recognized that biological factors, as pointed out by Steven Pinker, also play a crucial role in learning. And this is my thesis. So thank you so much for your attention and invitation, and see you next time. Bye bye.